So with Marvel Studios recently dropping the trailer for the Eternals, along with Black Widow's release just around the corner, I thought this would be a perfect time to talk about the most recent MCU movie, that being Spider-Man Far From Home. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Spider-Man Far From Home was directed by John Watts and stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jake Gyllenhaal and Samuel L. Jackson. The story follows Peter Parker and his classmates as they go on a school trip to Europe. Peter's trip quickly comes to a halt as he's approached by Nick Fury and Mysterio to aid their mission to defeat the villainous elementals. There's a reason why the MCU is a billion-dollar franchise. It's because of Marvel Studios' focus on the strengths and flaws of their heroes that have allowed the studio to become the dominant force in Hollywood. Far From Home continues this trend by exploring the effects of Tony Stark's death on Peter's everyday life. This creates a shadow over Peter as the story explores his first steps into adulthood. This evolution in Peter's journey allows Tom Holland to balance the action elements of Spidey with his ability for plunging into the emotional depths of the character. Zendaya makes a return in the sequel in the role of MJ. MJ contributes a lot to the story as she frequently interacts with Peter and becomes entangled with his crime-fighting alias. It's a vast improvement over her role in Spider-Man Homecoming, where she only appeared in that movie for the sake of delivering deadpan dialogue. While this trait is retained here, it's thankfully reduced to a handful of moments. By the screenwriters adding more dimensions to MJ's character, it allows Zendaya's charming personality to come through in her performance. Following Michael Keaton's nuanced portrayal of the Vulture in the first movie, the sequel once again picks up the baton and delivers a compelling villain in Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal is in scene-stealing form that's a departure from the roles that we're used to seeing from him. Gyllenhaal's frequent outbursts of anger, particularly in the climactic battle with Spidey, were a delight to watch. It allows Gyllenhaal to give his interpretation of this iconic character without veering into cringy territory. These moments of villainy only work, however, if the movie gives Mysterio clear motives within the story. The movie provides this, with the big twist being that Iron Man stole Mysterio's AI technology during the events of Civil War. This reveal provides a reason for why Mysterio wants to retaliate against the world. It's this care in the writing and direction of the character that allows Gyllenhaal to combine his dramatic acting chops with his likability as an actor. While the action in the MCU has generally been of a high standard, it seems that Spidey's first solo outing may have gotten the short end of the straw. By no means is this a slant on Homecoming, as Marvel were looking to move away from the big set pieces of the previous Spidey movies in favour of a scaled down approach. It only felt right that the sequel upped both the stakes and scale of the action, and Far From Home is a definite improvement over Homecoming in this regard. By moving the action away from New York and setting it across Europe, it allows the movie to give us something both familiar and different at the same time. The familiar is seeing Spidey do battle, this time against the Elementals, while the uniqueness comes from the variety of locations and villains that Spidey encounters. This is complemented with the movie's contrast of high and low-key lighting, from the brightness of Venice to the harshness of Prague. With Mysterio's illusion tech, it allows John Watts to come up with some inventive set pieces that explore Spidey's deepest fears. Moments such as Mysterio dropping MJ from the top of a building, or Iron Man rising from his grave to attack Spider-Man, are great examples of Watts showing his visual flair to show Spidey's deepest fears without the overuse of exposition. And let's be honest, that's far more interesting than just watching the hero beat the crap out of the villain. Much like Homecoming, Far From Home follows a similar suit in its slower pacing to its second act. While the movie takes this time to flesh out Peter's character growth, specifically his need to step out of Iron Man's shadow, it also robs the movie of the spark and energy that was there during the first act. Some tighter cuts in the final edit of the movie would have helped it maintain a sense of energy from start to finish. Overall, this movie is great superhero escapism, with fine performances from Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jake Gyllenhaal, grand-scale action, and a mid-credit scene that will leave you in shock. Despite some pacing issues with the movie's second act, I'm going to give Spider-Man Far From Home an 8 out of 10. So I'll now hand it over to you, as I want to find out whether or not you enjoyed Spider-Man Far From Home, and do you think it's better or worse than Homecoming, as I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you're a big fan of movies like myself, then be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, along with the notification bell to keep up to date with my latest videos. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.